Right now we're in big trouble, really big trouble. We are more than $14 trillion in debt, and that number is growing every second. We hate to think even how much it grew in just the last commercial break. Do you wonder, though, whether your elected leaders even care? A shocking report released last March that we have talked about often right here on the record points to 34 areas within our federal government where money is wasted. That money, by the way, is yours. Billions and billions of dollars lost in government waste, inappropriate payments, and even duplicate services. Our own Griff Jenkins gives us an in-depth look at the more than 350-page GAO report.
Imagine what the government could do if it could save $1 billion. Forget the $14 trillion debt or the $500 billion budget for this or that. Just $1 billion would allow the government to give a $10,000 raise to all 100,000 troops serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. It would allow the government to buy 2 million school children a brand new iPad 2. And at the salary of $50,000 a year, they could hire 20,000 new employees. Now, what if I told you there was a plan, a blueprint already existing to do just that? Well, the Government Accountability Office, the GAO as it's known here in Washington, did an over 350-page study looking across every agency of the federal government, and the results, well, they're quite remarkable.
Every single agency of the government is touched in some way by this report.
The report was prepared under the coordination of Patricia Dalton, Chief Operating Officer of the GAO.
This report originated out of a mandate that we had to look at, that requires the GAO to look at overlap, duplication, fragmentation on an annual basis. We're required to look at the entire government. Our first report was issued in March of this year, and it covers 34 areas where we identified potential overlap, duplication, fragmentation across the government. In addition, we identified 47 areas where there's some potential cost savings. We felt that this report would be used as a vehicle in the budget debates, and it certainly has been since it's been issued. And it would provide other potential areas for the Congress and the administration to look at to identify savings.
I think the report we just got from GAO, I think that is constructive. I think there are duplicative programs around here that we could eliminate. And so I support, I don't say this very often, but I'm glad Coburn asked for that. That's a step in the right direction.
With $1 billion, we did a little digging. I found you could give the 100,000 troops serving in Iraq and Afghanistan a $10,000 raise, each of them tomorrow. You could give 2 million school children brand new iPad 2s for learning. Imagine the savings if you could save 10 billion or even the 100 billion.
Right, exactly. And that's why, I think this report provides some targets of opportunity, and whether it's 1 billion or 10 billion, that's money that can be spent in a better way.
I would ask every one of you to look at this report, because none of us would run our families this way, none of us would run our businesses this way, and there is tremendous potential for us to accomplish great things for the American public and still take care of those that require a safety net by eliminating duplication and the dollars that we're spending that we don't get anything in return for.
Republican Senator Tom Coburn of Oklahoma requested the study, the first of its kind.
What you should be appalled at is that Congress isn't doing its job, both in terms of oversight and then eliminating duplication. Let me just give you some examples. We have 47 job training programs. We spend almost $20 billion a year on them. All but 3 of them overlap each of the others, and there's not one study to say any of them are effective in terms of job training. Why would we have 47 job training programs? Why would we have them all overlap, and why wouldn't we test to see if they're working?
Redundant and ineffective programs infect the government like a plague. For too long, Congress has punted on its responsibility to rein in wasteful spending. And when I read this report, I took the same feeling. I had the same feeling as my constituents did. I hated it.
How is this being received on Capitol Hill and by the administration?
It's been being very well received, I believe. First of all, we at the Government Accountability Office have testified numerous times on elements of this report. I think it's at least 10 times, if not more. Also, when we look at the administration, they are considering this report as they are developing their 2013 budget. The director of the Office of Management and Budget most recently issued his direction to all of the federal agencies, all of the cabinet agencies, on what they should consider in developing their 2013 budget. And one of those elements is this report.
Should the American people continue to be optimistic that whether it's led by the White House or senators like yourself or Republicans in the Senate and Congress, that perhaps we may be talking a year from now, Dr. Coburn, and see the fruits of some of your labor and the GAO's report here?
You're not going to see any fruits from it till we have a president that stands up and says, I'm not signing any appropriation bill till you eliminate this duplication. And we don't have one now that'll do it. We didn't have one, the one before that would do it. You need somebody tough in the White House that says, the only way we're going to fund the government to run the next 6 months or the next year is if you eliminate this waste. If you send me the bill, I will veto the bill. You will have to override it, and then I'm taking it to the American people that you won't do your work. You won't eliminate the waste, the fraud, the abuse, the duplication that's ongoing in the federal government to the tune of $350 billion a year. That's what we need. We need courageous moral leadership, somebody that will stand up for the best of this country in the long term rather than for political expediency.
Now, if you think that report by Griff is all there is, you're dead wrong. There is so much more. Tomorrow night, the shocking amount of your money being wasted by the Department of Education. And also tomorrow